Hello again. Now I'm going to do a series of videos at intervals, weekly, monthly, I don't know yet, it depends on how things happen and what happens. I want to make these a series of videos telling all about what's actually happening, because I'm on this journey of recovery with you from anxiety. I know I've got a head start on a lot of you, and I've been in this state for a long time. I never expected my recovery to be fast, because I've been like this for such a long time. But I wanted to sort of share some of my experiences and hope that you'll be able to relate to them or have experienced something similar. And just try and talk about some of the pitfalls, some of the problems, some of the setbacks that you get, and try and explain how I deal with them, because I think you see some real life examples, and I think, as I've done in my other videos, it's very helpful to have those, because you can put your own life into that situation there. Here we are in October, nearly into November, and this is not my best time of year. It never has been. I don't like the darkness and the cold approaching. And I look forward to the spring again, when the light comes back again, and the warmth comes back. And this year hasn't been much better than most years in that respect, and not helped by the fact that I've been suffering, well, for a long time really. It was from serious financial problems because of my lack of work. And I just can't do the sort of work that I used to do, not on the scale I used to do it. I can't go out mending computers, which is what I used to do. I can't do that very much now, because it's just, my balance is so off, I can't do it. I can do a certain amount, limited amount, so I've been looking at alternatives. I do like to write. I've been writing film scripts, well, trying to anyway, and it's quite a difficult thing to do. It's not something that I find it easy to do. I can come up with ideas, but it's structuring them in the stories that's quite hard. So all things considered, I think this is kind of a bleak time for me, and the way I've felt anxiety-wise and depression-wise has kind of reflected that, and I've had an awful lot of problems, anxiety problems, symptoms, and the things I've talked about a lot, the ones I particularly have problems with, they've been very, very much around in recent weeks. Now, by doing these videos, I'm also sort of reminding myself of the things I need to do and the way I need to approach the anxiety that I feel. And it helps me clarify in my own mind the right approach. And I hope I'm explaining it all clearly enough to you so that you can understand it as well. You see, this the whole basis of recovery is based on all around Clara Weeks' ideas, and those ideas have been around so long now, yet still so few people really know about it. Not nearly enough people. I mean, considering the thousands and probably millions of people that suffer from anxiety, there just seems to be such a lack of information there for people to help themselves with. And I find it very, very upsetting that there's such a lot of ignorance on the subject, and so little people understand what an anxiety state actually is and what's happening to them. So that's what I'm trying to do here with these videos, is to explain some of these things. Now, I have already talked a lot about my own particular big issues that still I can't get over, and still give me grief, which are dizziness and my digestive problems that I get. And what I'm doing at the moment, in recent weeks, is I'm making a determined effort to just go and do what I need to do with all these things that I hate so much actually happening, which is what this acceptance approach is all about. Now, I've had a few interesting experiences because of that, because like yesterday, I was really, really didn't want to go out, and I knew I had to go and do a few things. And the balance problems in my head, I just can't, everything around me looks unsteady, and when I turn my eyes my eyes kind of do a jerky movement, and it feels like you're drunk. It's really horrible. And it's very, very hard for me to motivate myself to go and do anything when I feel like that. However, I thought, well, I've got to go, so let's get it over with. So off I went, and as usual, the dizziness got worse. And so I thought, well, come on, it's time you practice what you preach. You keep telling people to do this. Do it yourself more than you are doing it. So I thought, well, all right, I'll do it. I'll let this be. Just let it happen. So that's what I did. I just thought, well, I can't stop this happening, so I'm just going to let it go on. And to my surprise, it did actually improve quite noticeably. I really got the knack of dealing with this dizziness issue the way I should have dealt with it a long time ago. And I was really quite pleased because that was a really noticeable difference it made in how I felt. Now, it's so much of this is habitual. You automatically seem to tense up against all these things that you're frightened of happening when you go out or whenever you're doing certain things. And this is certainly true with me. It's like when I wake in the morning, every morning I wake up in the same sort of way. I start to think about the day ahead, think about what I've got to do. And this always starts the old symptoms going. There's always a certain things like I get a stiff neck, for example, sometimes a headache. My stomach starts to feel a bit squeamish. My bowels start to cramp and things like that. Now, I should mention, of course, that with all this stress and strain of money worries, I've got myself quite sensitized, and naturally I understand that state, and I understand how it makes all the symptoms I do get much worse, and it also makes all the scary thoughts worse, which I talked about on previous videos. So I'm doing my best just to go along with those feelings, all of the thoughts and the feelings. And having said all that, I still am reluctant to venture very far. I did last week do a 20-mile round trip and in my car, and I felt quite pleased with myself because I was able to go without adding so much extra fear to what I was doing and to the way I felt. And this is the secret to it, is being prepared to do these things and practice. Clara Weeks used to say, practice not adding second fear. So you're frightened. Of course you're frightened, but you have to practice not adding fear of that fear, and that's what it's all about. Now this is such a hard thing to do, and people often say, well, how on earth can I do that? How is that possible? I can't help myself. I frighten myself all the time. How am I going to stop doing it? It's this accepting attitude is... a lot of people have difficulty understanding that basic concept. They think, well, what does accepting mean? What does it feel like to accept something? It's the acceptance, when you look at it this way, when you suffered a fright of some kind, a real fright, something in your life happened, something happened in your life and you were really, really afraid. And when you became really, really afraid, you had all the symptoms that you get now, all the pounding heart, the shakes, dry mouth, all that stuff, because of what had happened. Now, you knew why you felt that way. You understood that these were fear feelings. It was just you being afraid. And at the time, you wouldn't have been sensitized, so the fear was not exaggerated. So you also knew that once the cause of the fear, whatever caused it, had gone, then the fear just died away by itself, and you were able to just wait and accept its presence while it lasted, because you knew that it would die away. Now, this is where we come unstuck when we get in an anxiety state, because we don't let the fear die away. The fear comes in this exaggerated, intense form, and because it is like that, it seems so different from any sort of fear we've ever known. And so we become afraid of it. We don't want to feel like that. We don't want these horrible, intense feelings, especially things like panic. So we look upon it as a danger, and that's the way it keeps. Our body keeps responding in the same way. Now, that is what accepting is. It means to just let it be there, as if you had actually had a fright, and the fright was now going. You let the... oh, that's all right. Thank you very much, Mowgli. That's the cat. He's sharpening his claws on the boxes. He likes to. Yeah, thank you very much for that contribution. He likes to watch me while I'm doing this. He just sits and stares at me. So you can stop scratching now. Thank you. Yeah. Where was I? Yes, you can stop now. Thank you. Yeah, this is what acceptance is. It means to let it happen, because panic especially, and I've talked about this a lot, is supposed to be very short-lived. The only reason it's never short-lived is because we keep restarting it, basically. We are afraid of the panic, so we add fear to the panic as it's happening, and that produces another flash of panic, and another, and the thing can go on and on. This is how it works. And the same can be said of all the other symptoms. Now, people often talk about the fear symptoms, about our nervous system, as if it's just, they call it the primitive brain. They call it some ancient part of our evolution, and which doesn't have any intelligence, doesn't understand the difference between a real threat and a threat that we're telling it about. Now, I've come to think that's wrong. I've always thought it was a bit weird that our nervous system didn't know that we were afraid of what it was doing. So I've come to think that maybe our nervous system actually does know what it's doing. And what it's trying to do is trying to get us to treat what it does in the same way as we would as if we'd had a real fright, something frightening had happened to us. It's trying to teach us to accept these feelings for what they are, and trying to show us that they're not harmful in any way. See, this is the thing that people think, because they're so intense, these feelings, they think that they're somehow harmful to us. Well, they're not, and never would be harmful to us in any possible way. So this, I think, is what our nervous system is attempting to do. And it picks on things, and it's certainly been true in recent weeks with me, picks on the things that you're frightened of the most, and it keeps coming back with them and saying, look, here it is again. It's not going to hurt you, and if you treat it the right way, it'll just die away. And that's like I said at the beginning, that's what I did with this dizziness. I just sort of went, oh, to hell with it. Go on then, just do what you like. And I felt much less lightheaded, much less. And this is what I'm now in the process of dealing with. I'm trying to finally get past these things that have dogged me for so many years, like all the digestive problems, all this fear I have about vomiting and stomach upsets and all this kind of thing. I'm trying to get past these things now, so I don't care anymore. Because it's like I've got the end, the end in sight of the point of recovery is in sight with me. It feels like that sometimes. But I've still got these last things to deal with, and then finally I'll be free of it. So that's where I'm putting all my attention right now, just dealing with these irritating, annoying things that I get all day, well, not all day, but every day, certainly at some point. And so I think my nervous system is saying, come on, you're nearly there now, just get through these feelings, see them for what they are. So I'm trying not to hide myself away, trying not to avoid feeling like this. You see, even when I do these videos sometimes, because I'm breathing quite quickly, And that's probably that's the main reason I get so lightheaded, is because I breathe too fast. Even when I do these videos, sometimes I get very lightheaded because I'm talking quite quickly and I'm not breathing as well as I might. So I think, oh well, what's different? It's the same old feelings. I should just keep on, keep on doing it until I finally come out the other side. And you see, this is what I mentioned when I talked about panic on my panic videos. A lot of people sort of can't believe that they could ever do what I described there. And for a lot of people, going through panic the right way is not a one-off thing. It's a learning process. You learn that panic can't hurt you. And, more to the point, you learn that panic has a very limited duration. And, when you have that wonderful experience of watching panic fizzle out like it did with me, it's just unbelievable. And this is the same approach I'm trying with all the other stuff that I dislike so much. All the other stuff that follows me around all the time, this dizziness and lightheadedness and upset stomach, or all these things. I'm just trying to do what I need to do and let these feelings be there, not try and think of something else to forget about them, not try to avoid them, but to finally see them for what they are. And I think if the message is anything in this particular video, could you stop? Yes, you can. He's trying to get you in on the picture. That's what he's trying to do. You're going to say something? Yeah, he's trying to get by. He can't. Yes, that is the message in this video. Is the things that frighten you the most, and the situations where you feel at your worst, these are the places you need to go. These are the things you need to do. And that's what Clara Weeks always said. Seek out the places and experiences you fear. You're ruining my recording here. Do you realise that? You're going to ruin it. Come on, off. Oh, you can't tell cats anything, can you? You just ruined my little platform here. I've got my laptop on. Anyway, yes, as I was saying, yes, the places and things that you fear the most, seek them out. This is what you need to do. This is where you need to practice. And it's so the thought of doing it can put you into a serious state of fear. Just the thought of it. But this is where your cure lies. This is where your recovery lies. And Clara Weeks used to say that. She used to say, seek out the places you fear. Seek them out with utter acceptance, because that's where recovery is. Anyway, before Mowgli messes up this recording any more than he has, I think I better leave it at that for now. And well, I hope you're pleased with yourself. Yeah. I'll do some more of these at intervals when I've got something, new ideas to put forward or experiences to describe which I think might help. But in the meantime, from me and from Mowgli down there, it's bye for now.